Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I'm Adriana Monique Alvarez with Alma Publishing, and I'm so excited to continue our conversations with the contributors of Awakening. And, I'm going to be honest, I got a favorite on today. I've got Krystal with me. Hi, Krystal.
Hi, Adriana. So lovely to be with you.
And tell us where you're joining us from today.
I am joining you from Gippsland, which is in country Victoria in Australia.
Awesome. And I just have to say, before we get into the book and your chapter, when I met you in Sydney, I guess last year, almost feels like lifetimes ago. When we met and we sat next to each other at dinner, I just was like, oh my goodness, I know her. I've known her. I get her. She gets me. It was one of those connections. And of course, over time, it's just continues to unfold and expand. And so I want you to share a little bit about what you chose to write about in your chapter. What was your topic and why?
So my topic was the Temple of Galactic Embodiment, and then I called it the expansion into galactic embodiment. And what that actually, of course, I need to define what is galactic embodiment. And for me, having really come into the fullness of my galactic awareness of who I am as a spirit being, as a Hathor consciousness, and bringing that into my physical body, having been on that journey of being disembodied, out of body, in the spirit, escaping, to really now coming into holding this frequency and this vibration in the physical body so that we can anchor it into the earth and radiate it from there. That's been my life journey, and this is what this chapter is about.
I like that, because that really is key, isn't it? If we can't hold all of that in this body, on this planet, in this time, it's not the same.
It isn't. It isn't. And what I've noticed in my own life as well as in that of my clients is that journey of going from the wounded masculine that is so in the head, so cut off, so in fear, so focused on goals and achieving certain things, that we don't allow to open the blinkers and allow that divine guidance and the synchronicities to coming in, really being stuck in that, to then going to the opposite, where then going out of body into the spiritual, into being the empath, where everything can come in and come through and everything affects us, to then finding a way of integrating those two really wounded aspects, disembodied aspects, into wholeness right in this body, to activating. And for me, that journey was about activating my inner masculine. Some call it the healthy masculine, the divine masculine, that part that keeps us focused, that part that doesn't let that feminine flow going into the airy fairy world, but kind of just bringing it right here.
I like that. I like the way you describe it. And Krystal, we've worked together, so I've had the opportunity to actually experience who you are and what you do. And this is what I would say, because your topic and your expertise at first glance can seem like, whoa, right? I remember the first time I heard you say your thing, I was just like, oh wow, right? She lives in another realm. But what I realized is that you are the kind of person that takes leaders who are not used to having anyone. You're able to take those kinds of leaders to the next level, to places that they're ready to go. And you can hold space for that. I mean, I've worked with a few people over the last 20 years, and you really impressed me the way that you held space for me. And you were not the slightest bit distracted, intimidated. It was not about you and what you could do. You could just laser in and go, oh, this is where we need to go. And it was like, wow. I mean, boom, like a lightning bolt. And
yeah, and I think
I love this. Go, yeah.
I think the reason why I have become able to do that is because I can take my ego and my needs and my desires out of the way. like right here in a session, there's just another soul, another human being who, just like me, is on a journey. I don't have to be perfect in order to facilitate that. I am still on my journey. I am every day. What I do have to do, though, is to be consciously aware of what is happening in my life. And this is where presence comes in, you know, to have the presence, to just be intuitive enough to know, oh, this is where we need to go. And that can only come in when there's no filters, when I'm not, my ego isn't there, as I was saying. That's when that happens. That's when the magic happens. And when there's nothing to prove. I didn't need to prove to you that I'm an amazing coach. And because I don't have to do that, we have the space to actually go where we need to go. It's that fear of needing to prove oneself that is getting in the way of actually doing the work.
Oh my God. And I'm so glad you were able to identify that. That's exactly what it was. And that was why my time with you was the most powerful time I've had with anyone this year, because you had no need to prove yourself. You didn't have to establish anything. It was just, it's just done. It just is. I am.
Yes.
Let's go. Yes. And oh my goodness, I just think if more women, number one, worked with you and they were able to bring that in for themselves, I mean, where could we be?
Absolutely. And this is exactly what I do, is I look at and I identify where is the ego attachment still there in a leader? Where are the blind spots that we can't see ourselves, but somebody else can? And there is so much more that goes on in a session than the words, you know, because it is the vibration, the frequency that I can hold in that moment that will shine light onto whatever needs to be exposed within my client, so that we can then bring it out. And there's no judgment, because why? You know, this is the other thing, isn't it? To move beyond the judgment, to just hold it as it is what it is. Everything on our path happens for a reason. Everything happens with purpose. And in our human 3D identification, we often can't see what that is, because we're so attached to the thing that happened, or we're so attached to our story. So when there is somebody who can just hold that knowing and that awareness, everything happens with a purpose. It can then assist you to open up into your own awareness and your own wisdom of that.
You know, one of the things that I noticed as I went into my session with you thinking that I wanted to address this, and we did. But one thing that happened as a good side effect afterwards is I noticed that you actually helped me let go of some of the identities that I was carrying, that I was actually in conflict with, especially with everything that's happening this year, right? So changes brought on, one of the big ones is when we couldn't travel the way we wanted to, like we had been able to, I came up against this, well, this is an issue, right? Because I'm a traveler. This is who I am. This is not just what I enjoy doing. This is who I am. This is who I've been for 24 years, right? And I noticed after our session, I was just able to let that almost just dissolve. Let it fall. And I know that you talk a lot about this, like recognizing what is our identity in galactic embodiment? What do I identify as, and how does that affect the way I go through my life and business? Yeah.
I think identity and the identification with a certain archetype can really be the biggest prison that we can be in. And for me too, you know, my focus was on Tantra. I was running Tantra events throughout Australia. I was going to go and take my group to Egypt. I was going to run an event in Mexico, a retreat, and none of that could continue. So I also had to look at, okay, what is the universe trying to tell me? What is, if everything happens with purpose, collectively and individually, because as within, so without, everything is always so interconnected. And I found myself talking more and more about the new earth and what is happening and the deceptions and how we're being lied to, and what we need to do to rise above that, and what we need to do to really be the pillar of light in the storm. anchor this vibration, this higher vibration, so that whatever needs to happen, whatever needs to be scattered and shattered at this time can be done without complete destruction of everything, because there's enough people holding the pillars of light, the frequency. There's enough people seeing where we need to go. And so that's what I found myself speaking about. And I realized, actually, I am ready. I've known for so long that I'm here to lead the leaders and to be there. And I think my ego, and we talked about this earlier, had this perception that therefore I have to be perfect. All I have to be is myself in every moment. And that means to have a fluid identity, to going with the flow, to drawing on the inner archetypes that are most suitable to this present moment. And if that isn't the traveler, or if that isn't the Tantra teacher, then we put that away for now, and we focus on, well, what is this moment calling or asking of me right now? I need to step into my courage. I need to step into being a fierce leader, the Sekhmet archetype, or I need to actually destroy and dismantle my ego and move into the Kali archetype. So it's being able to not be ruled and controlled by our identities, but tapping into the different archetypes to serve the moment so that we can move forward.
It's so true. That is a perfect way of saying it. In this time, which of these best serves me and the world?
And I think another one that a lot of women have is the mother and the businesswoman. That can often be in conflict. How do I bet? And again, it's about presence in each moment. And I love a quote from Carolyn Mace, and she says the best way to create a meaningful life is by moving beyond a life of acquisition, where we have to do and be all these amazing things, and move into a life of devotion. And what that means to me is to expand everything into temple life, to bring our conscious awareness and presence into every single moment in the most mundane things. And then there's fulfillment, because there's only the moment. And in that moment, we don't think about the to-do list when we're playing with our children, or when I'm focused on writing or being here with you right now. I know my children are being taken care of. I need to do homeschooling after this with them, but right now I'm here. Right now I'm present, and I'm not worrying about them. So it is that ability to be fully present in each moment.
It's so true, because if you would have seen me 30 minutes ago, I was running through the sprinklers with them, right? We were just having a great old time. They rolled in the mud. I didn't, because I didn't want to bring you the muddy one, but it's true. It's like we were so in that. And then I looked at the time and I said, I'll be right back, right? And then it was like, oh, Krystal, this topic, let's dive in here. I love that. It is. It's that in the moment, so fulfilling, so beautiful, and then being the same way in the next. So, Krystal, what does the world look like when more of us come into this place of galactic embodiment?
There'll be a lot less blame. There'll be a lot less judgment. There will be what I call the collective leadership, where we know that I don't have to prove anything. You don't have to prove anything. I know exactly who I am and what I'm here to contribute. And if I'm not the best person for the job, then I know a sister or a brother who is an expert in that area. And I don't have a problem to send them the clients, because I know that we all are celebrated for our uniqueness and our connection to our essence. So there will be a lot more collaboration. There'll be a lot more joy, support. There will be a lot more spaciousness, because we don't have anything to prove. We don't have to achieve anything. The achieving comes through the being essence. Like that's how when we manifest things, we just, when we're in that state of alignment and we just think of something and it happens. We don't have to do the marketing strategy to get there. Right. It just is. It just comes. That's what the world will look like. A lot more synchronicities, a lot more magic, a lot more joy. And we can create this. What's happening right now on this earth is that we're in a healing crisis. We're in a collective healing crisis. That's how I see it. So all of the stuff needs to be flushed to the surface, and that's why we see it so strongly right now. All of our own stuff is being flushed to the surface. That's why many leaders, many light workers are penduluming so much, because it's all coming to the surface, and it's a great opportunity to really prepare for this new earth that we're moving into.
That's beautiful. And as you speak, I'm just sitting here going, yes, yes. And that's the gift that you gave me, Krystal, is you really helped me see she's going to help me on this leg. Right? I don't have to be the one who's always leading, who's always assisting. There is assistance for me as well. And that feels so good. That's the world we're coming into.
Exactly. And we can flip in an instant. We can be the leader in one moment, and then we can be supporting another sister in her beauty and getting the support that we need. And it's all fluid, because there's nothing to prove. We're all just living our best life, giving it our best shot.
Absolutely. Krystal, how can people connect with you? How can they work with you? I highly recommend it.
Yes, so I have, if people want to get in more of a flavor, if this wasn't enough, on my website, KrystalAlexander-Hille.com, there is a beautiful masterclass that takes you through the 3 pillars that I work through, which are the embodiment of the soul essence, the claiming of the life force, so that we can actually have a container that is solid, that isn't leaking, that is fueled with energy and vitality to hold that higher energy, so that we can then realize our visions and do that next step on our journey. So there I have a guided masterclass on that, and there's a guided journey in it. It's a beautiful 20-minute process and activation. I love calling things activations rather than, we have to heal something, because healing means that there's something wrong, but there's never ever anything wrong. So it's about activating more to hold more of our essence. So that is there. And then there's also I do a 3-session journey to activating those aspects within those leaders who feel called, who feel in resonance. I also have a beautiful membership called the Temple of Galactic Embodiment, for those who are feeling that they want to connect with their galactic soul family. That is the place to do it. We always come away with deeper inspiration, being exactly all the things that you already described, just feeling more aligned to self, so that they can serve their people more, bringing the wisdom that they actually realize themselves. I'm not the one giving everybody their wisdom. I open the door to assist you to find your own wisdom within. I'm just channeling the questions to get you there. So that's how I see my work. I'm also on Facebook. I've got the Krystal Alexander-Hille's Temple. That's my business page, and my name on Facebook. I've got a YouTube channel. So just punching in my name, I'll come up. I'll be there. But the website's probably the best place to start.
Excellent. Krystal, I appreciate what you contributed in this book, and I'm so excited that you're going to be in Visionary. Next one coming up. I want to remind everyone to pick up their copy of Awakening. If you haven't already, it's available on Amazon. Head over to Krystal's chapter. I can guarantee you it's going to expand what you see, believe, and know of yourself in the world. And if you would like to be in our next book, Visionary, I will put a link to the application below. Krystal, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me and for what you're doing in the world. It is so needed. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Until we get to have dinner again, yeah. Big hugs from Colorado.
Bye-bye.
Bye.